Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy. I'm Chris the Don One, and I am back with another video. Go check out my new channel on YouTube called Messy Media U. It's a comedy channel. I'm gonna have skits and things of that nature. I'm gonna try to upload video on a consistent level, but it is what it is if I'm unable to. All right. Now, with further ado, let's get into, before we get into Carmelo Anthony and the debut of the Oklahoma City Thunder, let's talk about briefly, barely briefly, Alonzo Ball debut with the LA Lakers against the Clippers. Now, from the outside looking in, we all knew that the Clippers were probably going to win this game, okay? Due to the Lakers are still developing. They have some young talent that they're trying to implement to their staff. They got the coach solidified. They got the person in charge, which is Magic Johnson. He's going to put his touch into the organization. Jeannie Buss has control of the organization. So all of those things are solidified. They're concrete. However, at the end of the day, what you drafted has to produce on the floor. And I knew going in that his first game, his debut game, he wasn't going to wasn't going to blow up, if you want to use those words. I kind of knew he was going to struggle, because you have to realize, I knew this going in, and this is not for this season, it's been for seasons past. When you're talking about NBA superstar potential, rookie potentially becoming superstars, you can't base it on one game to determine if he's a flop or a success, okay? I have seen people who have debut games and they lit it up. They scored 30 points, triple doubles, things of that nature. And during the course of their career, they fell off the map, okay? And I have also seen people with their first game, their debut game, they struggled and they became all-stars. So it's not an exact science. I kind of knew that he was going to struggle a bit, particularly since Patrick Beverley issued and implemented a challenge to Alonzo Ball, because his father was writing checks that his tail could not cash. All right. So Patrick Beverley was going to use this game as a statement game, to show the world that Alonzo Ball, welcome to the NBA. All right. I don't think it's beef. I just think it's the simple fact of Patrick Beverley saying, well, look, young man, you have a lot to improve. And he should look at this game, and I'm pretty sure he's looking at the film of this game and saw the errors of his ways, and he's going to make the necessary changes. Now, I told you guys that this was a good pick, a safe pick for the LA Lakers. And I hope people do not judge one game on whether or not he's it. He is a superstar. All right. I see a lot of Jason Kidd in him. All right. I remember when Jason Kidd entered the NBA, a lot of people were skeptical of Jason Kidd. And at the end of his career, not only has a championship, he has Olympic gold, but Jason Kidd is an all-star. Okay, he may not been the superstar like Michael Jordan and others, but he was an all-star in my opinion. He won a lot of accolades, and he's doing very well in coaching, especially with the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, but I hope people do not take this one game and say, well, see, I knew the kid was going to be a flop. I think on Inside the NBA, Chuck and Shaq They wasn't too pleased with him. I didn't see their telecast, but I hope they're not judging one game and saying that this guy is not going to be a success in the NBA. Only time's going to tell, and you're going to be foolish saying that. Okay, now let's get into, and I stayed a little bit too long, this is 5 minutes in, the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the New York Knicks. Another game I knew from the get-go the Oklahoma City Thunder had control of this game. Now, it was a barn burner. It was a rout in certain aspects of the game. And the one thing I can tell from this game, I feel like the New York Knicks have a bright future with Porzingis. I think Porzingis is going to be a star shining in New York City. And I think the New York Knicks should keep this guy. I know they want to keep this guy. They need to do everything possible to make sure this guy doesn't skip and leave town. All right? I feel like also they need to add more players around Porzingis, which they are. He's young, okay? I think this season with the New York Knicks is not going to be a playoff contending season. I think they're rebuilding, they're shuffling the deck, and they're going to draft for the future of Porzingis. Now, on the other side of the court, what I saw with the Oklahoma City Thunder, I've seen this movie before with the Miami Heat. All right, Chris Bosh. You can use this term very loosely. Was an ISO player. Dwayne Wade definitely was an ISO player, and LeBron James was an ISO player who didn't have the other tools at his disposal on his first extent with the Miami Heat, but slowly but surely started developing those tools. I've seen this movie before, and I think the Oklahoma City Thunder, they're going to have a successful season this year. As far as winning the championship, they're going to be in the playoffs, but in the championship, and particularly in the playoffs, when you're talking about NBA Finals, it becomes a half-court game. And that ISO play is not going to be very successful in a half-court game. Okay? I think I think the Golden State Warriors, if they continue to think, well, we'll just let Russell Westbrook be Russell Westbrook. Can I say that twice? We'll let him be him, and we'll be fine. If they think that that's going to ultimately keep the Oklahoma City Thunder from beating them, they're sadly mistaken. Because now you have Carmelo Anthony, who could be on the wing, as well as Paul George. But even though Paul George is an ISO player, his style is pretty similar to Russell Westbrook. If you let Russell Westbrook be Russell Westbrook, and if Russell Westbrook doesn't worry about getting a triple-double, which I don't think he will, if he just moves within the offense and make the right play and make the right assist, I see the Golden State Warriors having problems with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, you can't really tell on paper, and particularly in NBA games, because I feel like out of 3 games, the Golden State Warriors are still going to figure out somehow, some way to win those games. But when you go into a playoff scenario and it becomes a half-court game, I see matchup problems with the Golden State Warriors and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Okay, so basically it's gonna go down to the wire. This is not going to be a cupcake walk. It's none of that. All right. So Carmelo Anthony and Paul George, okay, They combined, I believe they combined for a 9 of 23, some weird odd number, 9 of something. It wasn't very good, all right? And that's going to be fixed and adjusted, and that's probably because they were playing the New York Knickerbockers, and they were just probably just trying to light up the scoreboard. But when they start playing you know, teams that are at their level, jacking up that many threes can be devastating to your ball club. Okay, particularly if you're playing against the Spurs, because they're going to capitalize on your mistakes. The Golden State Warriors, and yes, even the Cleveland Cavaliers. Okay, I feel like at the end of the day, there are 3 teams everyone should be looking out for. Put them in order: Golden State Warriors. All right, that was a bad accident over here. Golden State Warriors, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Ooh, that's a bad one. It's those teams, plus, on a side note, the San Antonio Spurs. I think the San Antonio Spurs look very impressive to me, particularly with their roster. Okay, they have a big 3 of themselves. So, at the end of the day, wow. At the end of the day, it's those 3 teams with the possibility of the San Antonio Spurs as a wild card, and the Milwaukee Bucks, they're gonna make some noise. The Boston Celtics are definitely going to make some noise. Okay, but I don't think the latter 2 teams, the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks, are going to topple the Cleveland Cavaliers or the Golden State Warriors or even the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? In a playoff scenario, an NBA Finals scenario, okay? But that's pretty much it. I think Alonzo Ball is going to get better as the season go along. Do not fall for the hype about this one game, because I remember he had these similar stats at preseason, and everybody kept saying he was a dud, and then on his second game he lit up. All right, so do not fall for the fool's gold, because people are going to you know, say things just to, like Skip Bayless, for shock value, and don't fall tempted to it. And as far as the Oklahoma City Thunder, they have a bright future, and they're going to be one of those teams to be reckoned with. Okay, I think I could see scenarios and angles that the Golden State Warriors are going to have a hard time defending the Oklahoma City Thunder. But at the end of the day, I see some matchup problems when the Oklahoma City Thunder are defending the Golden State Warriors. I still see those problems, okay? And still, at the end of the day, yeah, you can match up Paul George on Kevin Durant, okay? But what about Klay Thompson? I feel like Russell Westbrook can man up Steph Curry, but what about Draymond Green? Okay, which Draymond Green had an MRI on his knee. Everything looks, to me, from what the news clippings I gathered, everything's fine. Okay, but this can be reoccurring, particularly in the NBA season, where when you're talking about your knees, you're talking about your legs, you use those a lot more. Okay, those body parts are constantly moving. Okay, so if you have a stinger or a bruise and you're playing 82 games, if the coach do not watch your minutes, this can fall flat on their faces, and you can re-injure that and possibly lose even more game time, even the season. okay? But they got smart staff, smart doctors, smart physicians at Golden State Warriors. Shouldn't be worried about that. But guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. Please, 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 please hit that notification bell so you'll know when my next video or live stream is going down. Please do not forget to subscribe here, as well as my new channel, Missing Media. You have some content on there as well. It's your boy. I'm Chris the Don One. I am out, folks.